And Roger made this bass riff to go with it, but there's no way to play a guitar riff because of the way he played with all four fingers. There's nothing the guitar could do. So those guys wrote a riff on top of it. And that's kind of how the formula for Atheist began, was you had this, and there's no way to play that on guitar, so they went and had a harmony. And it's like, wow, that was really cool. And we kind of went from there and expanded on that.
I think Mother Man is, a perfect example of that. I think you got the bass line and the guitar dancing around it.
Yes, exactly, because the bass is going do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and they go bam, bam,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some of that also is to balance out the ingredients. So you don't want it all so spicy. You need some balance in the dish, right? Underneath is this intensely complex rhythm section. You don't want to compete with that. You want to complement it. You want to round it out and fill it out. And that's how we've always approached it. I recently did a thing for the record label. I put it on YouTube. It was just a demonstration. If you look up on YouTube, it's Steve Flynn, Jupiter, and
Fraudulent Cloth.
Fly.
All right, yeah, sorry.
Fly.
Yeah.
And we talk about how underneath is this really complex guitar riff, and then there's a pop and bass thing, but over top there was the need to have something that fills it out. So it's not just this constant barrage of riffing. There's something so you can grab onto, yet it's still underneath. It's, and the drums, there's this real fast shuffle and a lot of fills. And if they were doing the same thing all the time, it would just be this blur of notes. And that's kind of always how we've approached it.
Mm-hmm. Are you self-taught when it comes to drums, and what you use in Atheist? Is that more of just your own style, or what you've learned from others?
I am. Yeah. I've been sort of 98% self-taught. And I guess what I would say is I had a master class the first 2 years or so, or 3 years of my drumming. I did nothing but study how to play songs like La Villa Strangiato from Rush, or YYZ, or Xanadu, which are, just amazing classrooms to sort of, I use that, of course, in a virtual sense, to learn in, because you're learning power, you're learning jazz techniques, you're learning rock and roll techniques, you're learning how to syncopate, and you're learning independent limb coordination, four-way coordination. I was just trying to play Rush songs. And so, if anything, Neil Peart taught me how to write musically, and Gene Hoglan and Dave Lombardo and Lars Ulrich taught me how to play fast and how to play brutal and how to use double bass. Gene Hoglan really taught me how to use double bass. When I say taught me, again, it was from listening and studying what they did, and then making it my own style and changing things around to be how I wanted it.
I see. Unquestionable Presence ends with a gong. Did you have to lug a gong into the studio, and was it worth lugging it to the studio to use one time in the album?
No, and in fact, that was obviously before technology. Today, of course, you can strike the bottom of a frying pan, record it, and then send it through a computer, and it's going to come out sounding like anything you want it to. No, we actually had that was electronic. It was just a sampling of a gong. We didn't actually have one because the idea came about in the studio.
Okay.
And we couldn't go out and get a gong somewhere. They're kind of big and expensive. And back then, we didn't have any money, and that was just a sample of a gong.
I see. I just wasn't sure. I mean, I thought it was 1990. I was like, it could be a sample, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So.
And oddly enough, it was Rand, the guitar player, who hit it. Because I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get it on time. So, ironically, Rand, our guitar player at the time, of course, he was sitting there and he's like, "Oh, I can do it. So at the end of the song, he hits the gong, and he did it on like the first take, and I sat there for 15 minutes trying to gong the end of a song, and I couldn't do it. So
speaking of Rand,
an embarrassing no. Go ahead.
Speaking of Rand, I read that for personal reasons, and was it financial? That's why he's not in the band right now, or do you think?
No, not financial at all. In fact, really personal reasons for him. We tried like hell. We tried to get him to get involved in the writing of Jupiter. He was always in the plans when we decided to do reunion shows back in 2006. Mm-hmm. He was part of that. It was always the plan, but he, for a variety of his own, personal struggles, he spent a good bit of time in jail back then, and and then he just has some real personal issues that he has to work through that really prevented him from doing it. I know he wanted to, and up to the point when it's time to do Jupiter, we were in the studio and we said, "Listen, dude, you come to the studio, you will be on this record." And we waited, and he never showed up.
Oh,
so it's a tragedy. He's a brilliant guitar player. There's been few. He has such a unique style and sound by virtue of the way he plays. He plays upside down, and plus his own just approach to guitar is extraordinary and wonderful. And he's an incredible musician, but he's never been able to get out of his own way, unfortunately. And it is sad. We tried like hell. We tried, and it just wasn't in the cards.
I see. The lyrics to the song Unquestionable Presence are about aliens and kind of like ancient astronauts, that type of thing. Are you guys into conspiracy theory type stuff, or is that just kind of Kelly's type of thing?
No, yeah, no one was really into any sort of conspiracy theory type stuff. It really is just a fascination with aliens and that kind of thing.
I see. Well, I think my 15 minutes are up. I don't know if you're running on a schedule. I don't want to run you past. Yeah,
unfortunately, I have a call at 3:45. I have to make. I'm sorry.
Okay, but it was really great. I'm just amazed that I have the opportunity to do this, and I thank you so much.
No, thank you. Listen, the pleasure really is all mine, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
And hopefully, I will see you guys touring soon. So
I hope so as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, Steve.